Hello, friends. If you spent your career as a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, or a federal employee, and you're either already collecting Social Security or planning to, there is a rule that may be cutting your monthly check by hundreds of dollars, and the Social Security Administration is not required to warn you about it before it happens. It's called the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset, two separate rules. Both can reduce or completely eliminate Social Security benefits for government workers. And right now in 2026, millions of people are either already affected and don't know it, or are about to retire and still have time to plan around it. Today, I'm going to explain exactly how both rules work, who they hit hardest, what the actual dollar reductions look like, and, for those of you who haven't retired yet, what you can still do about it. Before we get into this, if you're not subscribed to this channel, do that right now and turn on the bell. Here's why it matters specifically for this topic. The rules around government pensions and Social Security have been shifting. There was a significant change passed at the end of 2024 called the Social Security Fairness Act that partially addressed these reductions, but it didn't eliminate them entirely, and a lot of people think it did. The difference between what people believe changed and what actually changed is costing retirees real money right now. What I do on this channel is track exactly these kinds of updates and explain what they mean for your specific situation before the decisions get made. The people who are subscribed here find out in time. The ones who aren't tend to find out after the reduction already hit. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's get into it. Let's start with the first rule, the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP. Here is the basic situation. Social Security was designed with a formula that gives lower-income workers a higher replacement rate, meaning Social Security replaces a larger percentage of earnings for someone who made $30,000 a year than for someone who made $90,000. That was intentional. It was built to protect lower-wage workers. The problem is that this formula was also being applied to government workers who had a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security, and those workers looked like low earners on paper, even when they weren't. The government's response was to create the WEP, which specifically reduces the Social Security benefit for anyone who receives a pension from non-covered employment, meaning a job where you did not pay Social Security taxes. In practical terms, if you worked as a teacher in a state where teachers don't pay into Social Security, and you also have Social Security credits from other work, a summer job, a second career, a part-time position, WEP reduces the Social Security benefit you get from those credits. How much? Before the Social Security Fairness Act passed in December 2024, the subminimum WEP reduction was $587 per month. The Fairness Act eliminated WEP for most people, but here is the critical part most people are missing. It only applied to current and future beneficiaries as of January 2024. If you were already affected before that date, the correction and back payments have been rolling out, but processing has been slow. If you think WEP was reducing your check and you haven't seen a correction or a back payment yet, you need to call SSA directly at 1-800-772-1213 and ask about your specific account status. The money may be owed to you and simply hasn't been processed yet. Now the second rule, and this one is harder, the Government Pension Offset, or GPO. The GPO does not affect your own Social Security retirement benefit. It affects spousal and survivor benefits, and it hits significantly harder than WEP did. Here is how it works. Normally, if you are married to someone who paid into Social Security, you can collect up to 50% of their benefit as a spouse, or up to 100% as a surviving widow or widower. That's the standard rule for most Americans. But if you receive a government pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security, the GPO reduces your spousal or survivor benefit by 2/3 of your pension amount. 2/3. Let me give you the real numbers. Say you receive a government pension of $1,800 a month. 2/3 of that is $1,200. If your spousal Social Security benefit would have been $1,000 a month, the GPO wipes it out entirely, because $1,200 exceeds $1,000. You get zero. If your survivor benefit would have been $1,500 a month, you would lose $1,200 of it and keep only $300. The Social Security Fairness Act that passed in 2024, the same one I mentioned earlier, also eliminated the GPO for most people. But again, the processing is incomplete. Surviving spouses and people receiving spousal benefits who were affected by GPO before January 2024 are owed back payments, and many have not received them. If you are a widow or widower of a government worker, or a spouse currently receiving a reduced spousal benefit, call SSA now and ask specifically about GPO back payment status on your account. Now let's talk about the group that still has options. If you are currently working in a government job and you have not yet retired, this part is for you. Even with the Fairness Act changes, understanding how your pension interacts with Social Security matters for your retirement strategy. Here is what you need to know. First, check whether your government job pays into Social Security at all. This is not the same answer for every state or every government employer. Some states have moved to Social Security coverage for newer employees. Some teachers, police officers, and firefighters do pay into the system depending on when they were hired and which state they work in. If you are unsure, ask your HR department or pension administrator directly. Does my position pay into Social Security? If the answer is no, then your Social Security credits from any other work you've done in your life are still valuable. But you need to know how many credits you have and what your projected benefit looks like without the pension interaction. Go to ssa.gov, create a My Social Security account, and open your statement. That number reflects your earned benefit from covered work. Second, if you are within 5 to 10 years of retirement, consider speaking with a financial planner who specifically understands public sector retirement, not a general advisor, someone who understands pension coordination with Social Security. The sequencing of when you claim Social Security relative to when your pension begins can affect your total lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That decision deserves real planning, not a guess. Whether you are already retired or still working, here are the specific steps. If you are already collecting Social Security and you were previously subject to WEP or GPO, meaning your check was reduced because of a government pension, and you have not yet received a correction or a back payment since the Fairness Act passed, do not assume the correction is coming automatically on its own schedule. Call SSA at 1-800-772-1213. Tell them you believe your benefit was affected by WEP or GPO, and you want to know the status of your account adjustment. Have your Social Security number ready. Ask them directly, has my record been updated? And when should I expect the correction? If you are a surviving spouse who never applied for a survivor benefit because you assumed GPO would eliminate it anyway, that assumption may no longer be accurate. The GPO elimination under the Fairness Act may now make you eligible for a survivor benefit you never applied for. Call SSA and ask. If you are still working in a government job, go to ssa.gov today and check how many Social Security credits you have from other employment. 40 credits, roughly 10 years of covered work, is the minimum to qualify for any retirement benefit. Know your number. Here is the summary. The windfall elimination provision reduced Social Security benefits for government workers. With pensions from non-covered employment, the government pension offset reduced or eliminated spousal and survivor benefits for the same group. The Social Security Fairness Act passed in December 2024, eliminated both provisions for most people, but back payments and account corrections are still being processed, and millions of affected people have not yet received what they are owed. If your benefit was reduced by WEP or GPO before January 2024, call SSA and ask about your account status. If you are a surviving spouse who never applied for a benefit because of GPO, call and ask now. And if you are still working in a government position, check your Social Security credits at ssa.gov and understand where you stand before you make any retirement decision. Subscribe. Share this with a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, or a federal worker you know, because this is information that directly affects their monthly income, and most of them have never heard it explained this way. I'll see you in the next one.